He should have left her there. The bar was closing, the lights already rising, the music thinning into something tired. She was his boss. She was drunk, and he was a single father who had to be up before dawn. Every sensible line in his life told him to walk away. Instead, he picked up her keys. Driving her home felt like crossing a line he could not name. Not illegal, not romantic, just dangerous, in a quieter way. The kind of danger that does not announce itself until later. She did not say much in the car, just his name once. Then silence. The next morning, standing in her kitchen while his phone buzzed with a missed call from daycare, she asked him a question so simple it stripped the night bare, and he understood that whatever answer he gave would follow him into work, into fatherhood, into the man he thought he was. If this story resonates, take a moment to sit with it. Subscribe if you want more quiet stories about difficult choices. The bar was already cleaning itself when he realized she was not leaving on her own. Chairs were flipped onto tables. The bartender wiped a counter with slow, tired strokes, not looking at anyone in particular. Outside, the streetlights were on, steady and indifferent. Midnight had passed without ceremony. He checked his watch once, then stopped. Knowing the time did not help. She sat at the end of the bar, jacket still on, purse at her feet. Her phone lay face down near her elbow. She had stopped pretending to drink. The glass in front of her was mostly melted ice. He was supposed to leave earlier. He had said so twice. Each time the words landed and disappeared. The office had come out together, stayed longer than planned, and thinned out without comment. Someone had offered to call her a car. Someone else had laughed and said she lived close. No one followed through. He stood up, feeling the stiffness in his lower back. He worked with his hands during the day, but the tension sat higher now, between his shoulders. He put on his jacket and reached for his bag. He told himself that if she said she was fine, he would go. She did not look up when he spoke her name. It was the first time he had ever used it without a last name or a title. The sound of it surprised him. "I'm heading out," he said. Neutral. Polite. The same tone he used in meetings. She nodded once, slow. Then she reached into her purse and pulled out her keys. She looked at them as if they had appeared there on their own. Her grip slipped. The keys hit the floor and skidded under the stool. He crouched to pick them up. His knees cracked when he stood. He held the keys out to her. She did not take them right away. "I shouldn't drive," she said. It was not an apology. It was not a request, just a statement. He could have agreed and walked away. He could have said he would call someone. He could have said nothing. Instead, he closed his fingers around the keys and put them in his pocket. "I'll take you home," he said. The words came out even. He did not add anything to them. Outside, the air was cold enough to wake him up. He walked half a step ahead of her without thinking. She followed, careful but unsteady. At the curb, she paused. He waited. Would she lean toward him? He adjusted his stance and let her find balance against his arm. He did not hold her any longer than necessary. His car smelled faintly of his child's shampoo and old coffee. There was a booster seat in the back. He opened the passenger door and waited while she got in. She struggled with the seatbelt. He reached across, clicked it into place, and pulled his hand back. He drove slower than usual. The city was quiet in a way that felt temporary, like it could end at any moment. Traffic lights changed for no one. He took the longer route, the one with fewer turns. She said his name once, not a question, not a command, just to say it. He kept his eyes on the road. After that, there was nothing. He thought about the morning, about lunches that still needed packing, about a permission slip folded on the kitchen counter. He did not think about work. He did not think about what this looked like from the outside. He focused on staying between the lines. Her building was older, brick darkened by years of rain. He pulled into a space near the entrance and put the car in park. The engine idled. Neither of them moved right away. "Thank you," she said. Her voice was steadier now. He nodded. He did not answer. He stepped out of the car and came around to open her door. She took the keys from his hand this time. Their fingers touched briefly. Nothing lingered. At the entrance, she fumbled with the lock. He stood a few steps back, hands in his pockets, watching the sidewalk instead of her. When the door finally opened, she turned. "You didn't have to," she said. He knew that was true. He also knew it was incomplete. "Get inside," he said, not unkindly. She did. The door closed behind her. The light in the lobby flickered, then steadied. He waited until he saw her move toward the elevator before turning away. In the car, he sat with his hands on the wheel longer than necessary. The street was empty. No one had seen anything worth noticing. He started the drive home, already counting hours until morning, already aware that something had shifted, even if he could not yet name what it was. The road ahead was clear, but he did not feel finished. Morning came without pause. The alarm went off at 5:30. He shut it off before it rang a second time. The apartment was dark and quiet in a way that felt earned. He stood for a moment at the edge of the bed, listening for movement from the next room. Nothing yet. In the kitchen, he filled the kettle and set it on the stove. He laid out a clean shirt on the back of a chair. He moved through the space without turning on the overhead light. These were not habits he questioned anymore. They held him together. His phone buzzed on the counter while the water heated. A message from work. He did not open it. He flipped the phone face down and reached for the lunch container instead. Peanut butter, apple slices. He cut the apple carefully, keeping the pieces even. His hands knew this work. When he went to wake his child, the room smelled faintly of last night's bath. He sat on the edge of the bed and said their name once. Then again. A small hand reached out and found his wrist. "Up," the child said. Not a complaint, just fact. He helped with socks. He tied shoes. He waited while the child insisted on the blue jacket, even though it was colder than yesterday. These were rules too, just not written anywhere. At daycare, he signed the clipboard and glanced at the clock on the wall. Pickup was at 6. Late fees started at 6:15. He nodded to the woman at the desk. She nodded back. Nothing else was said. In the car, he finally checked his phone. 2 emails, one from a client, one from her. "Can you stop by later today? We should talk." No punctuation, no explanation. No explanation. At work, the office hummed with its usual quiet. Keyboards, printers. The low sound of air moving through vents. He took his seat and opened his computer. He answered emails. He updated a spreadsheet. He did not bring up the night before. No one else did either. Her door stayed closed all morning. He noticed the absence more than he would have noticed her presence. Meetings went on without her. Decisions were delayed. He took notes and waited. At noon, he ate at his desk. He watched the clock while he chewed. When he stood up, his legs felt heavy, like they had already been used too much. Her assistant came by just after 1. "She'll see you at 4, she said. Neutral. Professional. He nodded. He did not ask where. The rest of the day narrowed toward that hour. Tasks stacked and unstacked themselves. He finished what he could. He left what could wait. At 3:58, he shut down his computer. He straightened the papers on his desk, even though no one would look at them. He walked down the hall and knocked once. Her apartment was quiet when he arrived later. Different quiet than his own. He stood in the hallway and waited for the door to open. Whatever rules existed between them were about to be tested. The door opened halfway. She stood behind it, barefoot, hair pulled back, but unfinished. She looked like someone who had been awake long enough to be functional, but not enough to be comfortable. "Come in," she said. He stepped inside and stopped just past the threshold. The apartment was clean without being careful. A mug sat in the sink. Papers were spread across the dining table in no particular order. The blinds were open, letting in flat afternoon light that softened nothing. "Coffee?" she asked. "No," he said. She nodded and did not press it. She moved to the counter and poured herself a cup. He stayed where he was, hands loose at his sides. He did not sit. "Thank you for last night," she said. "For getting me home." He inclined his head slightly. "You're welcome." The words landed and stayed there. She took a sip of coffee and leaned against the counter. For a moment, neither of them spoke. "I don't usually drink like that," she said. It sounded like an explanation she had practiced and decided not to use fully. He did not respond. She set the mug down. I wanted to check in, she said. Make sure everything was okay. He looked at her then, not directly at her face, at the space near her shoulder. It was fine, he said. The answer was true as far as it went. It did not reach very far. She studied him for a moment. Not his body, his posture. The way he stood as if he might need to leave quickly. You have a kid, she said. Yes. How old? He told her. He did not add anything else. She nodded. That's a lot, she said. Doing that alone. He felt the familiar tightening in his chest. He did not correct her. He did not accept the sympathy either. She crossed the room and gestured toward a chair. You can sit if you want. I'm fine, he said. She stopped moving. The distance between them stayed the same. I don't want there to be any confusion, she said. About boundaries. He waited. If anything felt uncomfortable, she continued, I'd want to know. The sentence placed the weight carefully, as if it might tip. He recognized the structure of it, the way responsibility could be shared without being equal. I drove you home, he said. That's all. She nodded again. Too quickly. Of course, she said. I just mean... She stopped herself. The silence filled in what she did not say. He shifted his weight from one foot to the other. The floor creaked slightly. I have to pick up my kid by 6, he said. Her eyes flicked to the clock on the wall. She nodded once more. Right, she said. I won't keep you. He turned to leave. His hand was on the doorknob when she spoke again. One more thing, she said. He paused. Do you feel like last night crossed any lines? The question was calm. It did not sound like a test. That made it harder. He considered the shape of the truth, how much space it would take up. No, he said. I don't. She exhaled. Not relief. Something closer to resolution. Good, she said. I'd like to keep it that way. He nodded and opened the door. In the hallway, the air felt different, thinner. He checked the time on his phone and started toward the stairs. He did not look back. The next morning, she called him into her office before he had finished logging in. Her door was open. The blinds were half closed this time, cutting the light into narrow bands across the carpet. She sat behind her desk, jacket on, posture exact. Nothing in the room suggested the apartment from the day before. Close the door, she said. He did. The latch clicked softly. She did not ask him to sit. He remained standing, hands clasped loosely in front of him. The desk between them felt wider than it was. I've been thinking about last night, she said. He waited. I want to be very clear, she continued. I don't want there to be any misunderstanding, especially given our roles. Yes, he said. She nodded, as if confirming something to herself. She picked up a pen and turned it once between her fingers. You did me a favor, she said. I appreciate that. He did not respond. But favors can get complicated, she added, in situations like ours. He watched the pen stop moving. So I want to ask you something, she said. The pause before the question was deliberate. It gave him time to anticipate and no time to prepare. If I hadn't been your boss, she asked, would you have done the same thing? The room felt suddenly smaller. Not tight, just focused. He did not answer right away. He thought of the bar, the keys on the floor, the way no one else had moved. He thought of other nights, other people, other choices he had made without weighing them this carefully. Yes, he said. Then, after a beat, I think so. She studied his face, not searching for guilt, for certainty. And if I had been a man, she asked. The question landed harder, not because it was unfair, because it was precise. He inhaled slowly through his nose. He chose his words with care. I would have made sure you got home safe, he said. Yes. She leaned back in her chair. The pen clicked against the desk. Okay, she said. She did not smile. She did not thank him again. She simply accepted the answer as if it were a document signed and filed. Then we're aligned, she said. That matters. He nodded once. She glanced at her computer screen. I'm adjusting some schedules this week, she said. We're behind on the Morrison account. I'll need you to take lead on it. The words were neutral. The tone was ordinary. But the meaning was not. That will mean later hours, she added. Some flexibility. He did the math without writing it down. Daycare. Pickup times. The margin he already used up. I can manage, he said. She looked at him then. Really looked. I assumed you could, she said. You're dependable. The word settled on him with unexpected weight. You can go, she said. He left the office and returned to his desk. He opened the project file. He read the brief twice. He sent one email to confirm deliverables. He sent another to daycare asking about extended hours. The reply came back quickly. We can accommodate until 6:30. After that, fees apply. He closed the email and stared at the screen. Around him, the office moved on. Phones rang. Someone laughed quietly at something on their screen. At 5:45, he packed up. He shut down his computer and stood. His body felt heavier than it had that morning. In the car, traffic was slow. He checked the clock at every red light. He pulled into the daycare parking lot at 6:27. Inside, the room was quieter than usual. Toys were already being put away. His child sat at a small table, swinging their legs. You're late, the child said. Not accusing, just noticing. I know, he said. On the drive home, the sky darkened. He turned on the headlights and followed the road. He understood then that the question she had asked was not finished with him. It would not stay in her office. It would keep asking itself. Every time he chose what to give and what to keep, the new schedule did not announce itself as punishment. It arrived as calendar updates, as meetings placed at the end of the day instead of the middle, as deadlines that leaned closer together until there was no space between them. No one raised their voice. No one explained anything that required explaining. He adjusted. He woke earlier. He packed lunches faster. He stopped making eggs in the morning and switched to cereal because it was quieter. He checked his phone before bed and again before his feet touched the floor. At work, he took the lead on the account the way he had been asked. He stayed late. He answered emails from the car. He learned which conference rooms were still lit after 7. Her door stayed closed. When they crossed paths, she nodded. Sometimes she asked for updates. Her tone remained even, professional, the kind of calm that left no mark. The first late fee came on a Thursday. He saw it posted on the daycare app while waiting for a file to upload. $15. He paid it without thinking. The second one came the next week, then another. He stopped opening the app until after pickup. At home, dinners became simpler. Fewer choices, less talking. He washed dishes while his child colored at the table. The refrigerator grew barer. He noticed but did not comment on it. One night, his child pushed the plate away after a few bites. Not hungry? He asked. The child shook their head. Just tired, they said. He nodded. He felt the same. At work, the project expanded. New requests. Additional review cycles. He did not push back. He told himself this was temporary. He told himself many things quietly. One afternoon, he missed pickup entirely. The meeting ran long. He watched the time slide past 6 and did not stand up. He waited for a pause that never came. When he finally left, the daycare was closed. The lights were off. He sat in the car and stared at the building for a full minute before calling the emergency number. His voice stayed steady while he explained. He did not mention work. His child was waiting inside when he arrived, sitting on a couch with a staff member. Shoes off. Jacket folded beside them. I thought you forgot, the child said. The words were small. They did not rise or fall. They did not accuse. He crouched in front of them. He shook his head once. I didn't. The child studied his face. Okay, they said. That was worse. On the drive home, the radio stayed off. The child looked out the window. Streetlights passed in steady intervals. He kept both hands on the wheel. I don't like when you work late, the child said after a while. I know, he said. Is it because of me? The child asked. The question was not heavy. It was clean. No, he said. He did not hesitate. It's not because of you. The child accepted the answer and turned back to the window. That night, after the child was asleep, he sat at the kitchen table with his laptop open. He looked at the budget. He moved numbers from one column to another. He cut back where he could. He did not look at the calendar. At work the next day, she stopped by his desk. "How's the account going?" she asked. "On track," he said. "I knew it would be," she said. "I knew it would be," she said. "You're reliable." The word again. He nodded. She turned to leave, then paused. "If you need help managing priorities," she said, "let me know." It was an offer that did not include relief. He understood that too. "I'll manage," he said. She left. Weeks passed like this. Not dramatic, just full. He stopped staying after meetings to chat. He stopped offering to take on extra tasks. He did what was assigned and nothing more. The line was thin, but he held it. One evening, while brushing teeth, his child watched him in the mirror. "You're quieter," the child said. He met their eyes in the glass. "Am I?" The child nodded. "You don't hum anymore." He had not noticed the absence until it was named. "I'm just tired," he said. The child considered this, then said, "You were tired before." That stayed with him longer than it should have. The next morning, when her assistant sent another calendar update pushing a meeting later, he did not accept it right away. He opened the message. He read it twice. He typed a response. Deleted it. Typed again. "I can attend if we end by 5:30. I have a hard stop." He stared at the words before sending them. They were not emotional. They were not accusatory. They were accurate. The reply came an hour later. Noted. The meeting still ran long. He left anyway. He stood up when the clock hit 5:30. He closed his notebook. He said he had to go. No one stopped him. In the hallway, his heart beat faster than it should have. Not fear. Something closer to exposure. In the car, he checked the time. He would make it. At daycare, his child ran toward him instead of walking. "You're early," the child said. "On time," he corrected. The child smiled. "I like on time." So did he. That night, after dinner, his child leaned against him on the couch. "You can say no," the child said suddenly. "To what?" he asked. The child shrugged. "To stuff." He did not answer right away. "Yeah," he said finally. "You can." The child nodded, satisfied, and closed their eyes. He sat there, listening to the sound of breathing, aware that silence had carried him this far, but it was starting to ask for more than it could hold. The next week, he started writing things down, not in a way that announced itself. He saved emails instead of answering them right away. He followed up conversations with short summaries, dates, times, decisions. Nothing dramatic. Just a record that could not be argued with. It changed how he moved through the day. He listened more closely. He spoke less. When he agreed to something, he made sure it was written. When he could not agree, he said so plainly. His boss noticed. She stopped by his desk one afternoon with a folder tucked under her arm. She did not sit. "I see you've been keeping closer track of your hours," she said. "Yes," he said. She waited for more. He did not offer it. "That's fine," she said, "as long as the work gets done." "It does," he said. She nodded, then opened the folder and slid a paper across his desk. "This is an opportunity," she said. "A lead role on the expansion team." He looked at the page. The title, the expectations, the travel, the hours. It would mean more visibility, she continued, more responsibility. He traced the edge of the paper with his finger. The corners were sharp. "It would mean later nights," he said. "For a while," she said. "That's how growth works." He thought of the daycare clock, the couch at night, the way his child leaned into him without asking. "I can't," he said. The word came out steady. She looked at him as if he had spoken in another language. "Can't," she repeated. "I won't be able to meet the time requirements," he said. "Not consistently." Silence settled between them. Not heavy, Exact. This is the kind of role people wait for, she said. I know, he said. She studied him again, not with irritation, with reassessment. Is this about last month? She asked. He met her eyes for the first time. It's about my availability, he said. She exhaled through her nose. You're limiting yourself. Maybe, he said. She closed the folder. All right, she said. I'll reassign it. She walked away without another word. The change came 2 days later. His name was removed from the lead project. Another manager took over. His responsibilities narrowed. His desk stayed where it was, but the work around it shifted. No one commented on it directly. People adjusted their expectations without saying why. At lunch, he ate alone. He did not feel angry. He felt lighter in a way that did not resemble relief. More like the removal of pressure he had been pretending not to feel. At pickup that evening, his child was already waiting by the door. You came early again, the child said. Yes, he said. The child took his hand. Is it forever? He squeezed back. I don't know. That's okay, the child said. Today is good. On the drive home, he realized that the line he had drawn was not wide. It did not protect him from everything. It only told him where he stood, and that, it turned out, was enough to change how the rest of the room responded. He knew the cost was still coming. He just no longer pretended it would be invisible. The reassignment became official the following Monday. It was framed as a realignment, a better use of resources. His skill set applied elsewhere. The language was clean. He read the email once and archived it. His new role came with fewer meetings and less influence, the kind of work that kept things running but did not shape direction. He adjusted without comment. He did what was asked and nothing more. The pay stayed the same, for now. But the path forward narrowed. He could see it clearly enough to stop guessing. At home, he opened the budget again. He cut one streaming service. He stopped buying coffee on the way to work. He moved money between accounts until the numbers stopped blinking red. He did not tell his child why the groceries changed. He just made different meals. Rice instead of pasta. Soup instead of takeout. The child noticed but did not ask. One evening while folding laundry, he told them he would not be traveling for work anymore. Good, the child said. I don't like the suitcase. Neither did he. At work, his boss passed him in the hallway more than once without stopping. When she did speak to him, it was brief. Focused. Correct. The distance felt deliberate. He did not try to close it. Weeks went by. The days found a new shape. Predictable. Smaller. He left on time. He picked up on time. He sat on the couch in the evenings and listened to his child talk about school. He hummed again, once, without noticing until the child pointed it out. You're doing it, the child said. Doing what? That thing, they said. With the song. He stopped, embarrassed, then kept going. One afternoon, the daycare sent a notice about tuition increasing the following month. Not by much. Enough. He sat in the car after reading it, hands on the wheel, engine off. He did the math. It worked, but barely. He would need to say no to something else soon. At work, the next day, she called him into her office again. This time, the door stayed open. I wanted to let you know, she said. Your previous role won't be reopening. He nodded. Okay. She waited. He did not react. You've been solid, she said. Reliable. The word returned, smaller now. But ambition matters here, she added. I understand, he said. She studied him, perhaps expecting something sharper. When it did not come, she leaned back in her chair. You know, she said, most people don't make the choice you did. He thought of the missed pickup, the couch at night, the way his child slept with one arm flung out as if claiming space. I did, he said. She nodded once. That's all, she said. He left the office and returned to his desk. He finished the task in front of him. He shut down his computer at 5:30. He stood. No one looked surprised. In the elevator, alone, he felt the cost fully for the first time. Not regret. Wait. The understanding that the door he had closed would not open again. He pressed the button for the lobby and waited. At daycare, his child was building something with blocks. "You're on time," the child said, without looking up. "Yes," he said. The child added one more block, then stomped. "That's good," they said. He watched the structure hold. The cost was real. It did not ask permission. He paid it anyway. On a Friday evening near the end of the month, he left work with nothing waiting on his desk. No messages marked urgent. No meetings pushed late. The office lights dimmed automatically as he walked down the hall. He did not rush. He did not check the time until he reached the elevator. Outside, the air had turned cooler. Fall had settled in without asking. He pulled his jacket tighter and headed for the car. At daycare, the room was still busy. Laughter. The sound of small feet moving fast. His child saw him and waved, then finished what they were doing before coming over. "Can I show you something?" the child asked. "Of course," he said. They led him to a drawing taped to the wall. A house. 2 figures inside. One taller, one smaller, both with wide arms. "That's us," the child said. "I know," he said. On the drive home, traffic moved slowly. He stayed in his lane. The radio played low. He did not think about work. He did not plan ahead. At a red light, he noticed a man on the corner arguing into his phone. The man paced, stopped, paced again. The light turned green. He drove on. At home, he cooked dinner without looking at the clock. He let the water boil too long and laughed when it spilled over. The child laughed too. After dinner, they sat on the floor and built something out of blocks. It leaned, it fell. They built it again. Later, after the child was asleep, he stood in the doorway and watched for a moment. He did not feel the need to check his email. He turned off the light and closed the door softly. The next Monday at work, he passed his boss in the hallway. She was speaking with someone else. She nodded at him without breaking stride. He nodded back. Nothing else passed between them. At lunch, he ate outside. The bench was cold. The sun was out. He finished his sandwich and sat there a while longer. That evening, his phone buzzed while he was driving. A number he did not recognize. He let it go to voicemail. At pickup, his child was last to leave. They waited patiently, shoes on, backpack ready. "Sorry," he said. "Traffic." "That's okay," the child said. "You came." On the walk to the car, the child reached for his hand. He took it without thinking. Months earlier, he would have checked the time. He would have calculated what the next day required. Now, he just walked. Later that night, he washed the dishes and hummed without realizing it. The sound filled the small kitchen and stayed there. The world had not fixed itself. His job had not improved. Nothing had returned to what it was. But the days moved differently now, and when he turned off the light and went to bed, he did not feel like he was leaving anything unfinished. The morning would come. He would be there.